Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're heading down to Campania, near Naples. We're exploring a place called Liternum. It's a Roman colony, maybe a bit forgotten, but recently revealing some really fascinating secrets.
Absolutely. It's like a window opening onto Roman colonial life. And its location is key, right near that old boundary between Greek Cumae and the Etruscans.
So, strategically placed.
Definitely. Founded officially at 194 BC, a sister colony to Puteoli and Volturnum, part of Rome's plan to control the coast there.
Okay, 194 BC. And it was important for quite a while.
Yeah, it really, flourished during the empire, especially after the Via Domitiana Road came through in the late 1st century AD. It was occupied right up until about the 5th century AD.
Yeah, quite a run. Until things changed.
Environmental problems, political instability.
Yeah.
The usual suspects for decline back then.
So our mission today is to unpack Liternum's story, especially with these new finds coming to light.
Sounds good. It's a great example of Roman expansion.
So the founding, it was deliberate, right? After the Second Punic War?
Exactly. A strategic move. They settled 300 Roman families, lots of veterans, possibly Scipio Africanus' men.
Ah, veterans. Okay.
Right.
So it grew into a coastal town farming center.
And that Via Domitiana you mentioned, that was a big deal. It literally ran right through the forum.
The town square, basically. The heart of the colony.
Precisely. The civic, religious, commercial center, rectangular plaza, paved, probably had colonnades.
And the main temple was there.
Yep, the Capitolium. For Jupiter, Juno, Minerva. Classic Italic style, built on a podium, right from the colony's founding in the 2nd century BC.
So religion front and center. What else was in the forum?
You had the Basilica nearby for law and administration. Single nave, pretty big. That came a bit later, late Republic.
And a theater, too.
Yes, an imperial era edition, probably late 2nd century AD. Modest size, maybe held about 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Possibly used for public meetings, too.
Interesting. And shops, daily life stuff.
Oh, yeah, tabernae. Shops and workshops line the forum. We have evidence for guilds, like launderers, felt makers, bakers, fruit sellers.
Yeah.
You get the picture.
A proper working town center.
Plus other temples, baths. Later, even a smaller covered theater, an Odeon. It shows that Roman blueprint. Gods, law, business, entertainment.
Now let's talk about Scipio Africanus, the famous general ending his days there.
That's one of Liternum's big claims to fame. He retired there, supposedly disillusioned with Rome, died around 183 BC.
And his villa wasn't exactly luxurious, was it?
Not according to Seneca and Pliny. They describe something quite austere. Stone, small bath, defensive towers, woods, gardens. Kind of reflects maybe Scipio's moderation or maybe just the earlier style.
A real contrast to later Roman villas.
It is. And the legend persists that he was buried there, not in the family tomb in Rome. Supposedly with that inscription, ungrateful fatherland, you won't even have my bones.
Wow. Have they found the villa? Or the tomb?
No, not for certain. It's still elusive. There's a modern memorial base in the forum, though, keeping the story alive. And maybe a hint at a marble fragment found that says Patria, but nothing definite.
So beyond Scipio, what was life like for everyone else?
It seems like a pretty diverse society. You had your local elite, building fancy mausoleums.
Right.
But also artisans, merchants in their collegia or guilds, fishermen.
Makes sense, being coastal.
Right. The economy was agriculture, fishing, local crafts like pottery. They found a kiln.
Yeah.
And the Via Domitiana helped trade flow.
And religion, mostly standard Roman.
Primarily the official Capitoline gods, yeah. But there might have been other local or private cults. Some finds in the necropolis hint at that.
Ah, the necropolis, the burial ground. That tells us a lot, doesn't it?
Huge amounts. It was used for centuries, late 1st BC to 3rd AD. Shows a real mix of customs. Inhumation, cremation. Different tomb types.
Like what kind of types?
Grand mausolea for the wealthy, simpler tile graves called a cappuccina, infants sometimes buried in jars and chytrismos.
Buried in jars, wow.
Yeah, and camber tombs like the famous recent one, plus simpler graves. And the grave goods, coins, lamps, pottery, rings, even fishing net weights. They give us these little glimpses into individual lives and status.
But the social hierarchy is right there in how they were buried.
Exactly. And the infant burials, the caretaken, that's quite moving.
Okay, which brings us neatly to the really exciting recent stuff. The secrets revealed from the last couple of years.
Yes. This has been fantastic. Excavations in the necropolis since 2023 have uncovered some amazing things. Well-preserved enclosures, painted plaster, a tufa mausoleum.
But the big one is the tomb of Cerberus.
Absolutely. Discovered late 2023, an intact monumental chamber tomb. And the frescoes. Just exceptional. Mythological scenes, Cerberus, Hercules, Mercury, Ichthyocentaur.
Mythological creatures, wow, and it was sealed.
The main chamber wasn't sealed but contained burial couches, clinae, an altar, and remains of several people. It dates originally to the 2nd century BC,
Right.
but was reused, but then they found a sealed sarcophagus inside.
And he opened it.
July 2024. Inside, a remarkably well-preserved adult skeleton. And get this, the shroud was partially preserved. That's incredibly rare.
A shroud, amazing. What else?
Unguentaria perfumed jars and strigils. They think this might be the Capostipite, the founder of the family who built the tomb. DNA analysis of the shroud fabric, it's all happening now.
Incredible insight into their beliefs and rituals. And there was more. A gladiator.
Yes, announced just this past March. A marble tombstone, possibly complete, for a gladiator. It's being called a precious document.
Why is that so significant?
It tells us about the social role and memory of gladiators in a place like Liternum. Suggests maybe some achieved real recognition enough for a proper memorial.
Really changing the picture of the town?
Definitely. These finds are adding so much texture.
But eventually Liternum did decline. Why was that?
From the 4th century AD onwards, problems mounted. The local environment changed swamp formation, likely malaria, plus the general political and military instability of the later empire. Vandal attacks in the 5th century.
So people moved away.
Seems like it. Possibly inland, maybe founding nearby Juliana. Liternum itself was gradually abandoned, overgrown, buildings likely robbed for stone.
And today, it's an archaeological park.
Yes, the Parco Archeologico di Liternum, right there on Lake Patria. Established to protect what's left. You can see the forum area, the podium of the Capitolium, parts of the Basilica, the theater ruins, even sections of the old Via Domitiana.
Is it accessible? Can people visit?
They can. It's been undergoing restoration, reopened recently. It's part of the wider Campi Flegrei archaeological network. You can get guided tours. Artifacts are housed in the museum at Baia, though sometimes the Liternum room might be closed.
So it's still revealing itself, a work in progress.
Very much so. A bit of a rough diamond. But the potential is huge, especially with these new necropolis finds. They're talking about future museum exhibits for them.
It really is a fascinating story. Liternum feels like a microcosm, Roman ambition, colonial life, a famous figure seeking refuge, vibrant society, eventual decline.
And now archaeology bringing startling new details back to life. The Cerberus tomb, the gladiator, rewriting parts of the story.
Makes you think, doesn't it? There are probably still so many secrets buried there. Scipio's villa, his tomb maybe, who knows what else.
Exactly. And it prompts that bigger question. How many other seemingly ordinary places around us are just holding on to these incredible hidden histories, waiting to be rediscovered?